His fingers crushed her throat. Maya's feet left the ground. She couldn't scream, couldn't breathe. Derek's face twisted, inches from hers, the same face that once whispered, "I love you now," promising death. "You're mine," he hissed, "forever." Her vision went black. Her lungs burned. Then a roar, an engine, a voice like broken glass. "Get your hands off her, now." The Hell's Angel had arrived. Subscribe and stay until the end. Comment your city below. I want to see how far Maya's story travels. Maya Brooks learned to count her heartbeats. 1, 2, 3. That's how many seconds she had before the panic hit. Before her chest locked up and her hands started shaking and the world tilted sideways. "Order up," she flinched. Coffee sloshed over her hand. "Damn it!" She grabbed a napkin, mopping up the mess. "Coming, Carl." 6 months since she'd run. 6 months of jumping at every loud noise, every slammed door, every man who looked at her too long. Her therapist said it would get better. Her therapist was wrong. "You okay, honey?" Doris appeared beside her, eyebrows pinched together. "Fine, just clumsy. You've dropped 3 cups today." "Bad night." Doris didn't push. That's why Maya loved her. 62 years old, silver hair, hands like leather from decades of work, and she never asked questions Maya couldn't answer. "Go home early," Doris said. "I can't." "You can, go." Maya went. The October wind hit her face the moment she stepped outside. She pulled her jacket tighter and walked fast. Head down. Don't make eye contact. Just get home. 3 blocks. That's all she had to survive. 3 blocks between the cafe and her apartment. She was halfway there when her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her thumb hovered over the screen. "Don't answer. Block it. Keep walking." She answered. "Did you really think you could hide from me?" Her legs stopped working. Just stopped. Right there on the sidewalk. "Derek." "Hello, baby." His voice was silk and venom. "Miss me?" "How did you, Cedar Bay, Oregon, Lighthouse Cafe, Maple Street, apartment 2B. He laughed softly. "Did you think I wouldn't find you? Did you think a few state lines would stop me?" Maya's hand shook so hard, the phone nearly slipped from her fingers. "I have a restraining order. A piece of paper." She could hear his smile. "You know what I do with paper. Maya, stay away from me. I'll see you soon, baby, real soon." Click. Maya didn't move. Couldn't move. People walked past her on the sidewalk, going about their normal lives, completely unaware that her world had just collapsed. He found her after everything. The fake name, the new city, the careful planning. Derek Vaughn had found her. And he was coming. She didn't go home. Home meant the apartment he knew about, the address he'd recited like a grocery list. Instead, she ducked into the hardware store and hid between aisles of paint cans for 20 minutes watching the door. Then she slipped out the back and took the long way around, doubling back twice to make sure no one was following. Paranoid maybe, but paranoid kept you alive. She ended up at the police station. Officer Rachel Torres was working the front desk. Mid-40s, sharp eyes, no patience for nonsense. Maya had met her once before when she'd first arrived in Cedar Bay and registered her restraining order. "Ms. Brooks." Torres looked up. "What can I do for you?" "He found me." Maya's voice cracked. "Derek, he called me 20 minutes ago. He knows where I live, where I work, everything." Torres' expression shifted. "Sit down. Tell me exactly what he said." Maya told her, every word, every pause, every threat wrapped in silk. Torres took notes, her pen scratching against the paper. "We'll send a patrol car by your apartment," she said when Maya finished. "And I'll flag his name in the system. If he shows up anywhere in town..." "That's it." Maya stared at her. "A patrol car. Ms. Brooks, I understand you're scared. He said he's coming for me. He knows my address. And until he actually does something, there's not much we can do." Torres' voice was sympathetic but firm. "He hasn't violated the restraining order yet. Not technically. A phone call from an unknown number. It was him. I believe you, but believing isn't evidence." Torres leaned forward. "Do you have somewhere else you can stay tonight? Someone you trust?" Maya almost laughed. Trust. She'd trusted Derek once. Trusted him with everything, her heart, her body, her future. Look where that got her. I'll figure something out, she said. She left the station feeling worse than when she'd arrived. Dang. That night, Maya didn't sleep. She sat in the corner of her apartment with a kitchen knife across her knees, watching the door. Every footstep in the hallway made her grip tighten. Every car that passed below made her hold her breath. He's out there, watching, waiting. The sun came up. She hadn't moved. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number again. She didn't answer this time, just stared at the screen until it stopped buzzing. Then it buzzed again, and again, and again. 7 missed calls by noon. No voicemails, just silence. Just Derek letting her know he was there. She called in sick to work. First time ever. Doris didn't ask questions, just told her to rest and feel better. By the 3rd day, Maya was falling apart. No sleep, barely any food. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She'd pushed her dresser in front of the door and nailed the window shut, and still, she couldn't breathe. This is what he wants, she told herself. He wants you scared. He wants you broken. Don't give him that. But knowing it and stopping it were 2 different things. On the 4th day, she forced herself outside, just to the corner store, just for 5 minutes. She couldn't hide forever. She made it to the store, bought milk and bread with trembling hands. The cashier gave her a weird look, but didn't say anything. Baby steps, that's what her therapist called it. Baby steps back to normal. She was almost home when she saw him. Not in front of her, behind her. Reflected in a shop window. Derek, leaning against a lamppost half a block back, watching her. Their eyes met in the glass. He smiled. Maya ran. She didn't think, didn't plan. Just dropped her groceries and bolted her worn sneakers slapping against the pavement. Behind her, she heard footsteps. Heard Derek's voice calling her name like they were old friends. Maya, wait, I just want to talk. She ducked into an alley. Bad idea, she realized it the second she was inside. Dead end. Brick wall at the far side. No doors, no windows, no escape. Trapped. Footsteps behind her. Slow now. Unhurried. That wasn't very smart, baby. Derek appeared at the mouth of the alley, blocking the only exit. He was smiling. That same charming smile that had made her fall in love with him 3 years ago. You made me chase you. He walked toward her, slowly savoring her fear. I don't like chasing. Maya backed up until her shoulders hit brick. Nowhere else to go. Please, her voice came out as a whisper. Please just let me go. Let you go, Derek laughed. I spent 3 months finding you. 3 months. Do you have any idea what that cost me? The time, the money, the private investigators. He was close now, too close. She could smell his cologne, that sickly sweet scent that used to mean safety and now meant danger. You belong to me, Maya. You've always belonged to me. I don't. His hand shot out and grabbed her throat. Not squeezing, not yet. Just holding her in place, reminding her who was in control. You don't get to decide when it's over, he said softly. I decide, and I've decided we're going home. I'm not going anywhere with you. His grip tightened. That's not your choice. Yes, Maya's voice shook, but she forced the words out. It is. Derek's eyes went flat. The charm disappeared. What was left was something cold and dead and hungry. Fine, he said. We'll do this the hard way. He slammed her against the wall. Her head bounced off the brick. Stars exploded across her vision. You think you can run from me? His face was inches from hers, twisted with rage. You think you can hide? I will always find you. His fingers dug into her throat, crushed her windpipe, lifted her off the ground. Maya clawed at his hands, couldn't breathe, couldn't scream. Her vision went dark at the edges. This is it, she thought. This is how I die. Then she heard it, a roar, an engine getting closer. Headlights cut through the shadows. A motorcycle skidded to a stop at the mouth of the alley. Derek's grip loosened just slightly, just enough for Maya to suck in a desperate breath. Through her tears, she saw a figure dismount. Massive, shoulders like a linebacker. Leather vest with a patch she'd only seen in movies. Hell's Angels. The biker walked toward them with slow, deliberate steps. His face was calm. His eyes were not. Let her go, Derek sneered. Walk away, buddy. This doesn't concern you. I said let her go. The biker's voice dropped. I won't say it again. She's my girlfriend. We're having a private... The biker moved. Maya didn't see exactly what happened. One second, Derek was holding her against the wall. The next, he was flying through the air, slamming into the opposite wall with a sickening crunch. She slid to the ground, gasping. The biker had Derek pinned, one hand around his throat, one arm twisted behind his back at an angle that made Maya wince. Here's what's going to happen, the biker said. Still calm, still controlled, like he did this every day. You're going to leave this town. Tonight. You are never going to contact this woman again. You're never going to look for her, think about her, or say her name. Understand, Derek whimpered. You're breaking my arm. The biker applied more pressure. Derek screamed, understand. Yes, yes, I understand. If I ever see your face again, if I even hear a rumor you're within 100 miles of her, I will find you, and what I do to you will make tonight feel like a misabage. Nod if you believe me. Derek nodded frantically. The biker released him. Derek collapsed against the wall, clutching his arm. He looked at Maya, hatred burning in his eyes, then scrambled out of the alley like a man running from the devil. Silence. Maya sat on the cold ground sobbing. Her throat was on fire. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. The biker crouched down a few feet away. Not too close. Not crowding her. You're safe now, he said. His voice was different, gentler. He's gone. Maya tried to speak. Couldn't. My name's Axel. Can you tell me your name? Maya. Okay, Maya. I'm going to call 911. That okay? She nodded. Axel pulled out his phone, his eyes never leaving the mouth of the alley. Watching. Protecting. Maya didn't understand any of it. She'd spent her whole life being told men like Axel were dangerous. Criminals. People to fear. But it wasn't the biker who tried to kill her tonight. It was the man who said he loved her. Audience retention hook, 8 minutes. But Derek wasn't gone, not even close. He was planning something worse, something Maya wouldn't see coming until it was almost too late. The hospital was cold. Maya sat on the edge of an examination table, a paper gown crinkling every time she moved. A nurse had taken photos of her neck documentation for the police report, and now she was waiting. Waiting for the doctor. Waiting for the police. Waiting for her life to make sense again. Axel was in the lobby. He'd been there for 3 hours now. When she asked why, he just said, nobody should face this alone. She didn't know what to do with that. Officer Torres arrived around midnight. Same sharp eyes, same no-nonsense tone. We found his car, she said, abandoned near the highway. He's gone. Maya should have felt relieved. She didn't. Gone where? We don't know, but we've issued a warrant. Assault stalking violation of a restraining order. Torres paused. He's not getting away with this. Maya wanted to believe her. She really did. What happens now? Now you go somewhere safe, somewhere he doesn't know about. Torres glanced toward the lobby. That biker out there, you trust him, trust, that word again. I don't know, Maya said honestly. I met him 4 hours ago. He saved your life. I know. Torres was quiet for a moment. He offered to let you stay at their club, the Hells Angels. Said they have a secure location. Maya almost laughed. A Hells Angels clubhouse. Her, the girl who used to be afraid of jaywalking, hiding out with a motorcycle gang. But what other option did she have? Her apartment was compromised. She had no family in town, no friends she trusted, not after what happened with Sarah. Sarah. The name hit her like a punch to the gut. Officer Torres, Maya said slowly. Derek knew things about me, things I never told him. My middle name, my mother's maiden name, details about my childhood. Torres frowned. You think someone gave him information? There's only one person I told those things to, a woman from my therapy group, Sarah Chen. Torres wrote the name down. I'll look into it. Maya nodded, but her mind was racing. Sarah, sweet, quiet Sarah, the first friend she'd made in Cedar Bay. The only person she'd trusted with her story. Had it all been a lie, was the name. Axel drove her to the club on his motorcycle. Maya held on to him, her arms wrapped around his waist. The vibration of the engine was oddly soothing. The night air was cold against her face. She should have been terrified, riding with a stranger to a biker clubhouse in the middle of the night. But she was too tired to be terrified, too numb, The clubhouse turned out to be a garage. Thornton's motorcycle repair, the sign read. Legitimate, normal, not at all what she'd expected. Axel led her around the back to a small building, part office, part living quarters. Clean, simple, a bed, a kitchenette, a bathroom with a lock on the door. It's not much, he said, but it's safe. Nobody's getting in here without going through us first. Maya looked around. The walls were covered with photos. Bikers at charity events, families at cookouts, children on motorcycles. Not what she expected at all. Why are you helping me? The question came out before she could stop it. Axel was quiet for a long moment. I had a sister, he said finally. Emma, she was 23. Was, past tense. Her boyfriend killed her while I was deployed overseas. Beat her to death in their apartment. His jaw tightened. I wasn't there to protect her. Wasn't there to save her. I've spent every day since trying to make up for that. Maya's chest ached. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Just let me help. He met her eyes. Let me do for you what I couldn't do for her. Maya didn't have words, so she just nodded. Get some rest, Axel said. You're safe here. He left, closing the door softly behind him. Maya stood alone in the small room. She should have been scared, should have been suspicious. But for the first time in months, she felt something else. Something that felt almost like hope. Major twist, 12 minutes. The next morning, Maya learned the truth about Sarah, and it was worse than she ever imagined. She woke to knocking. Maya shot upright, hard hammering. For a second, she didn't know where she was. Then it came back. The alley. So, the garage. Maya, you awake? A woman's voice, not threatening. Yes. The door opened. A woman about Maya's age stepped in carrying a tray of food. Dark hair, sharp eyes, no-nonsense expression. I'm Diana, she said. Axel asked me to check on you. Brought breakfast. The smell hit Maya's nose. Eggs, bacon, toast. Her stomach growled so loud it was embarrassing. Thank you. Diana set the tray down and watched as Maya devoured the food. No judgment, no questions, just patient silence. You're safe here, Diana said eventually. Whatever you have heard about the club, we're not what people think. What are you, family? Diana's voice was firm. My dad started this chapter 30 years ago. He always said our job wasn't just riding bikes. It was protecting people who couldn't protect themselves. Maya wanted to believe that, wanted to believe in something. Derek's going to come back, she said quietly. He won't stop. He never stops. Then we'll be ready. Diana stood. Eat, rest. We'll figure out the rest later. She left. Maya finished her breakfast, then forced herself to look in the bathroom mirror. The bruises on her neck were spectacular, deep purple shaped like fingers, evidence of Derek's rage. But she was alive. She was alive. An hour later, Axel knocked on her door. We need to talk, he said. His expression was grim. Maya followed him to the main garage where a group of bikers had gathered. She recognized Hammer from the photos, a massive man with a gray beard and arms like tree trunks. Diana stood beside him, along with half a dozen others. Torres called, Axel said. They found something. Derek. No, Sarah Chen. Maya's blood went cold. What about her? Axel hesitated. She's dead. The floor tilted. Maya grabbed a workbench to steady herself. What? They found her this morning in her apartment. Axel's voice was flat, controlled. She'd been dead for about 12 hours, strangled. Maya's legs gave out. Axel caught her before she hit the ground. Hey, stay with me. He killed her. Maya's voice came out as a whisper. Derek killed her because she helped him find me, because she knew too much. We don't know that for certain. Yes, we do. The words ripped out of her. He's tying up loose ends. He's cleaning house. And I'm next. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Sarah was dead. Sweet, quiet Sarah who brought cookies to therapy and listened without judgment. Dead. Because of Maya. Because Derek couldn't leave any witnesses. He's not going to touch you, Hammer said. His voice was granite. You hear me? That man is not getting within 100 feet of you. You can't promise that. Yes, I can. Hammer stepped forward. You're under our protection now, the whole club. 30 brothers and sisters who will ride into hell for you. Derek Vaughn doesn't know what he's gotten himself into. Maya looked around at these people, these strangers who had embraced her without question. Criminal society called them. Thugs, outlaws. Right now they were the only family she had. Why? She asked. Why would you do this for someone you don't even know? Hammer's expression softened. Because someone did it for us once. Because that's what family does. He glanced at Axel. And because some of us have debts we're still trying to pay. Axel said nothing, but Maya understood. Emma. This was about Emma. About second chances. About saving the women they couldn't save before. Okay, Maya heard herself say. Okay, what do we do? Hammer smiled. It wasn't a pleasant smile. We hunt. The audience retention hooked 16 minutes. But hunting Derek wouldn't be easy, because he wasn't just a jealous ex-boyfriend anymore. He was something far worse, and he had a plan that would put everyone Maya loved in danger. The war council lasted 3 hours. Maya learned things about Derek she'd never known. Things the police had discovered, things the club's own contacts had dug up. Derek Vaughn wasn't just an insurance salesman. He had a sealed juvenile record assault charges that had been buried when he turned 18. A college girlfriend who disappeared mysteriously and was never found. A pattern of behavior that stretched back decades. He's been doing this his whole life, Torres said over speakerphone. You weren't his first victim, Maya. You might not even be his worst. Maya felt sick. Why wasn't any of this caught before, Axel demanded? Because he's smart. Because he has money. Because the system is broken. Torres' voice was bitter. Take your pick. The plan they developed was simple but dangerous. Maya would be bait, not alone, never alone, but visible, drawing Derek out of the shadows so they could end this. He's obsessed with you, Axel explained. That's his weakness. He can't stay away. If we give him an opening, he'll take it. And when he does, we'll be ready. Maya should have been terrified, should have refused, but she was done being scared. Let's do it, she said. 3 days later, Maya went back to work. Same cafe, same shift, same routine. But nothing was the same. She could feel them watching her, the club members scattered throughout the town. A biker at the coffee shop across the street, another at the gas station on the corner. Eyes everywhere, watching for Derek. The first day passed without incident. So did the second. On the third day, Derek made his move. Maya was walking home the long way like Axel had taught her when she felt it. That prickling sensation on the back of her neck. The feeling of being watched. She didn't panic, didn't run. She walked to the designated spot, a small park near the center of town, and sat on a bench. Waiting. 5 minutes passed, 10. Then a shadow fell across her. Hello, Maya. She looked up. Derek stood 3 feet away, hands in his pockets, smile on his face, like they were old friends meeting for coffee. Hello, Derek. His smile flickered. He hadn't expected her to be calm. You're not going to run, no. Not going to scream, no. He tilted his head, studying her. What changed? I did. Maya stood up slowly. I'm not scared of you anymore, Derek. Something dark flickered in his eyes. You should be. Why? Because you killed Sarah. Maya kept her voice steady. The police know. They know everything. Your sealed records. Your missing college girlfriend. All of it. Derek's smile vanished. You're lying. Maya took a step toward him. They're building a case, Derek. Murder, stalking, assault. You're going to prison for the rest of your life. I'll kill you first. Try it. Derek lunged, but he never reached her. Axel appeared from nowhere, slamming into Derek like a freight train. They went down hard, rolling across the grass. More bikers materialized. Hammer, Diana, half a dozen others forming a wall between Derek and Maya. Officer Torres's voice cut through the chaos. Derek Vaughn, you're under arrest. Derek thrashed and screamed as Torres cuffed him, cursing Maya, cursing Axel, cursing everyone. This isn't over, he screamed as they dragged him toward the waiting patrol car. You hear me, Maya? This isn't over. Maya watched him go, and for the first time in 3 years, she smiled. Audience retention hooked 20 minutes. Derek was in custody, but Maya's nightmare wasn't over, because what the police found in his hotel room would change everything, and it would force Maya to make a choice that would define the rest of her life. Torres called an hour later. We searched his hotel room, she said. Her voice was strange, tight. Maya, you need to come to the station. You need to see this. See what? Just come. Maya went with Axel beside her. What she saw in the evidence room made her stomach drop. Photographs, hundreds of them. Pictures of Maya at work, at home, walking to therapy, buying groceries. Some were weeks old, some were months old, some were from before she'd even left Seattle. He's been stalking you for over a year, Torres said. Maybe longer. But that wasn't the worst part. Torres held up a plastic evidence bag. Inside was a notebook, its pages covered in cramped handwriting. It's a detailed plan, Torres said quietly. Kidnapping, torture, murder. He'd mapped out every step, the drugs he would use, the location where he would take you, the tools he would need. Maya couldn't breathe. There's more. Torres pulled out another bag. We found these in his trunk. Rope, duct tape, a hunting knife, syringes filled with an unknown liquid. He was going to do it tonight, Torres said. If you hadn't drawn him out, if your friends hadn't been there. She didn't finish. She didn't need to. Maya understood. She had come within hours of becoming another missing woman. Another unsolved case, another name on a list that nobody would ever read. Derek hadn't just wanted to hurt her. He'd wanted to erase her. Axel found her outside the station, sitting on a bench, staring at nothing. He didn't speak, just sat beside her, a solid presence in the darkness. He was going to kill me, Maya said finally. Tonight, he was going to kidnap me and torture me and kill me. But he didn't, because you were there. She looked at him. Because you saved me again. No. Axel shook his head. You saved yourself. The moment you decided to fight instead of run, that's when you won. I don't feel like I won. Give it time. They sat in silence for a while. The night was cold, but Maya barely felt it. What happens now? She asked finally. Now you heal. You build a new life. A real life, not one defined by fear. Axel paused. If you want it. What do you mean? I mean you have a choice. He turned to face her. You can leave Cedar Bay. Start over somewhere new. Nobody would blame you. Or you can stay. Be part of something. Help other women who have been through what you've been through. His eyes held hers. The club, we do a lot of work with domestic violence survivors. Safe houses, transportation, legal support. We could use someone like you. Maya considered it. A month ago, the idea of staying would have seemed impossible. Too dangerous, too scary. But she wasn't the same person she'd been a month ago. I'll stay, she said. Axel nodded, no surprise, like he'd known all along what she would choose. Good, he said simply. That night, Maya slept without nightmares for the first time in years. She dreamed of open roads and blue skies and a future she couldn't quite see, but could finally imagine. She dreamed of hope. The next morning hit Maya like a freight train. She woke up in the small room behind the garage, sunlight streaming through the window, and for exactly 3 seconds, she forgot everything. Then reality crashed back. Derek, the arrest, the photographs, the notebook filled with plans to torture and kill her. She sat up too fast. Her head spun. A knock on the door made her jump. Maya, Diana's voice. You awake? We need to talk. Maya opened the door. Diana's face was tight, wrong. What happened? Get dressed. Axel's waiting. Maya's stomach dropped. Diana, what happened? Diana wouldn't meet her eyes. Just get dressed. 5 minutes later, Maya walked into the main garage. Axel stood near the workbench, phone in hand. His expression made her blood run cold. Tell me, she said. Axel took a breath. Derek made bail. The floor tilted. Maya grabbed the nearest table to stay upright. That's impossible. Torres said she said he was going to prison. His family hired a lawyer, high-powered, out of Portland. Axel's jaw was tight. They argued he wasn't a flight risk. Judge set bail at $500,000. Who has that kind of money? His father paid it in cash this morning. Axel stepped toward her. Maya, listen to me. This doesn't change anything. He's still facing charges. He's still going to trial. The evidence, he's out. Maya's voice cracked. He's out, and he knows where I am, and he's going to kill me. Not if we kill him first. The words came from Hammer, who had appeared in the doorway. His face was stone. His eyes were murder. "We don't do that," Axel said sharply. "Don't we?" Hammer crossed his arms. "Man's got a notebook full of torture plans. He killed that Chen woman. He's not going to stop until Maya's dead, or he is. And what? We just put him in the ground. Go to prison for the rest of our lives." Axel shook his head. "That's not the answer." "Then what is—" Silence. Maya looked between them. These men who had risked everything to protect her. These strangers who had become family. "I won't let you go to prison for me," she said quietly. "Either of you." Hammer snorted. "Not your call, sweetheart." "Yes, it is," Maya straightened. "This is my fight, my life. And I'm not going to let Derek destroy anyone else. Not Sarah, not you, not anyone." Axel studied her. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking we need a new plan." The meeting lasted 4 hours. Torres joined them by phone, feeding them updates from inside the system. Derek was out on bail, but he had conditions: GPS monitoring, no contact with Maya, mandatory check-ins with his parole officer. "If he violates any of those conditions, he goes straight back to jail," Torres said. "No second chances." "And if he doesn't violate them?" Maya asked. "Then we wait for trial, build an airtight case, make sure he never sees daylight again." "How long until trial?" Torres hesitated. 6 months, maybe longer. 6 months. Half a year of looking over her shoulder. Half a year of waiting for Derek to make his move. Maya couldn't survive that. Not mentally, not emotionally. "There has to be another way," she said. "There is." This from Diana, who had been silent until now. "We make him violate his conditions." Everyone looked at her. "He's obsessed with Maya. We know that. He can't stay a while. It's literally impossible for him." Diana leaned forward. "So we use that. We put Maya somewhere visible, somewhere he can't resist. And when he shows up, he goes back to jail," Axel finished. "It's risky," Torres said over the phone. "If something goes wrong." "Something's already wrong," Maya cut in. "He's out. He's free. Every second he's breathing, I'm in danger." She looked around the room. "I'll do it. Whatever it takes." Axel held her gaze for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Okay, we do this smart. We do this careful. And we don't let him anywhere near you." The plan was simple. Maya would return to her normal routine. Work at the cafe, walk the same streets, be visible, predictable, and wait for Derek to take the bait. The first 2 days were agony. Maya jumped at every sound, every shadow that moved, every car that slowed down as it passed. The club had people watching her around the clock, she knew that, but it didn't stop the fear. Derek was out there, watching, waiting. She could feel him. On the 3rd day, Doris pulled her aside after the lunch rush. "You're not okay," Doris said bluntly. "Don't tell me you're fine. I've known you for 6 months. You were falling apart." Maya wanted to lie, couldn't. "He's out," she whispered. "Derek, he made bail." Doris's face went pale. "That monster." "I know." "What are you doing here? You should be hiding. You should be—" "I can't hide forever." Maya's voice was steady despite her trembling hands. "If I run, he wins. If I hide, he wins. The only way I beat him is by standing my ground." Doris stared at her for a long moment. Then slowly she nodded. "You're braver than you know, honey. Braver than you know." That night, Maya's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Did you miss me?" Her blood turned to ice. She screenshotted the message and sent it to Torres immediately. Then she sat on the edge of her bed, hands shaking, and waited. Her phone buzzed again. "I saw you today, at the cafe. You looked beautiful." And again, "I'm going to enjoy making you scream." And again, "See you soon, baby." Maya didn't sleep that night. Torres traced the text to a burner phone, purchased with cash. No way to prove Derek sent them. "We know it's him," Torres said the next morning, "but knowing isn't evidence. His lawyer will argue anyone could have sent those messages." "So what do I do?" "Wait until he actually attacks me again." "We keep documenting. Keep building the case. Eventually he'll slip up." Eventually. That word felt like a death sentence. Axel found her sitting behind the garage staring at nothing. "How are you holding up?" he asked. "I'm not." He sat beside her, not too close. respecting her space. When Emma died, he said quietly, I spent 2 years drunk, couldn't function, couldn't work, couldn't do anything but relive that phone call over and over again. Maya looked at him. What changed? I found the club, found purpose. He paused, found a reason to keep living. And that was enough. Some days, he met her eyes. Some days it's still not enough. Some days I still hear her voice asking me to save her bro. But I keep going, because that's what she would have wanted. Maya felt tears burn her eyes. I'm so tired, Axel. I'm so tired of being afraid. I know. I just want it to be over. It will be. His voice was firm. One way or another, it will be. And when it is, you're going to have a whole life ahead of you, a life Derek Vaughn can't touch. Maya wanted to believe him. She really did. But the fear was a living thing inside her, growing stronger every day. 1 week passed, then 2. Derek didn't show himself. The texts kept coming, always from new numbers, always untraceable, but he stayed invisible, ghost-like. Maya started to wonder if maybe, just maybe, he'd given up. Maybe the threat of prison had finally scared him off. Maybe she could actually have a normal life. She should have known better. It happened on a Tuesday afternoon. Maya was walking home from the cafe, flanked by 2 club members she'd come to know as Spark and Duchess. They were joking about something she couldn't even remember what when her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her swipe. Hello. Heavy breathing. Then Derek's voice, calm and cold. Look across the street, Maya. Her head snapped up. Her heart stopped. Derek stood on the opposite sidewalk, phone pressed to his ear, smiling. Miss me. He's here, Maya screamed. He's right there. Spark and Duchess reacted instantly, charging across the street. But Derek was already moving, ducking into an alley, disappearing into the maze of back streets. They lost him. Torres arrived 20 minutes later, face tight with fury. His GPS shows him at home, she said. All day. Hasn't moved. That's impossible, I saw him. I know, he must have found a way to spoof the signal. Left the ankle monitor somewhere and... Torres cursed under her breath. His lawyer's good, really good. So now what? Now we prove he was here. Cameras, witnesses, anything. But they found nothing. Derek had been careful, stayed in blind spots, avoided witnesses. It was like he'd never been there at all, except Maya knew. She knew. That night, Axel didn't leave her side. He's playing games, he said, trying to break you psychologically before he makes his real move. It's working, Maya's voice was hollow. I can't do this, Axel. I can't live like this. Yes, you can. He gripped her shoulders, forcing her to look at him. You are the strongest person I've ever met. You survived 2 years of abuse. You had the courage to leave. You're still standing. That's not weakness. That's power. I don't feel powerful. I feel like a mouse being toyed with by a cat. Then stop being the mouse. His eyes blazed. Stop waiting for him to make moves. Start making moves yourself. How? What can I possibly do that I haven't already done? Axel was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that changed everything. You said Sarah Chen was feeding him information. Did you ever ask yourself why? Maya blinked. What do you mean? I mean, Sarah wasn't a random victim. Derek chose her specifically, used her specifically. There has to be a reason. Maya thought about it, really thought about it. Sarah had been in her therapy group, had seemed so kind, so understanding, had asked questions about Maya's past questions that seemed caring at the time, but now felt calculated. She knew things about me that I never told Derek, Maya said slowly. Personal things, family things, she was the only one who knew. So Derek got to her somehow, turned her into an asset. But how Sarah didn't know him, had never met him. That you know of. The words hit Maya like a slap. She grabbed her phone and dialed Torres. I need you to pull Sarah Chen's records, she said. Everything. Phone logs, bank statements, social media. All of it. Maya, what's going on? I think Derek had help. More help than just Sarah. I think there might be others. Torres was quiet for a moment. I'll see what I can find. 2 days later, Torres called back. You were right, she said. Her voice was grim. Sarah Chen received 5 wire transfers over the past 6 months. $10,000 each. $50,000 total. Maya's stomach turned. From Derek. From a shell company registered in Delaware. But here's the thing, Sarah wasn't the only one. There were two other recipients, both in Cedar Bay. Who? Torres hesitated. Gerald Morrison and a man named Paul Hendricks. Gerald, the old fisherman Aya waved to every morning. Paul, the therapist who ran her support group. Maya couldn't breathe. They were all working for him, she whispered. All of them, from the very beginning. It looks that way. Torres' voice was tight. Maya, I'm so sorry. We had no idea. Maya hung up. She stood there, phone in hand, the world spinning around her. Gerald, sweet old Gerald with his fishing nets and friendly waves. He'd been watching her, reporting back to Derek, telling him her routines, her habits, her vulnerabilities. And Paul, her therapist, the man she'd trusted with her deepest secrets. He'd been selling those secrets to the man who wanted to kill her. Everything she'd built in Cedar Bay was a lie. Everyone she'd trusted was a traitor. Except the bikers. Except Axel. Maya found him in the garage working on a bike engine. He looked up when she entered, and something in her face made him set down his tools immediately. What happened? She told him. Everything. The wire transfers, Gerald and Paul, the network of spies Derek had built around her. Axel's expression grew darker with every word. He planned this, Axel said when she finished, from the very beginning. Even before you left Seattle, he was setting up surveillance in the place he knew you'd run to. How could he know I'd come here? Did you ever mention Cedar Bay? Ever talk about it? Maya thought back, way back, to the early days of their relationship when Derek was still charming and attentive, and she felt safe enough to share her dreams. My grandmother used to live here, she said slowly. I told Derek about her, about spending summers here as a kid, about how it was the only place I ever felt truly safe. And he remembered. He remembered everything. Maya's voice broke. He knew I'd come here. He knew I'd seek out therapy, make friends, try to build a new life. And he had people waiting to watch me the whole time. Axel pulled her into his arms. She didn't resist. Couldn't resist. She was falling apart, and he was the only thing holding her together. We're going to end this, he said into her hair. I promise you. We're going to end this. The confrontation came faster than anyone expected. Torres arrested Gerald Morrison the next morning. The old fisherman broke within an hour, confessing everything Derek had approached him 6 months ago, offered him money to keep an eye on any young women who moved to town alone. When Maya arrived, Gerald had reported back immediately. I didn't know he was going to hurt her, Gerald sobbed in the interrogation room. He said he was her boyfriend, said she'd run away, and he just wanted to find her. I thought I was helping. You helped him stalk her, Torres said coldly. You helped him plan her murder. Gerald crumbled. Paul Hendricks was a different story. The therapist lawyered up immediately, refusing to say a word. But his phone records told the story, dozens of calls to Derek's burner phones. Texts detailing Maya's therapy sessions, her fears, her vulnerabilities. He sold you out for money, Axel told Maya. $50,000 to betray every ethical code in his profession. Maya felt numb. What happens now? Now we use them. Gerald's agreed to cooperate. He's going to contact Derek, set up a meeting. A trap. A trap. Axel's eyes were hard, and this time Derek's not getting away. The meeting was set for Friday night. Gerald would tell Derek he had new information about Maya. A new address, a new vulnerability. Derek wouldn't be able to resist. And when he showed up, the entire club would be waiting. Maya insisted on being there. Absolutely not, Axel said. I have to see it end. I have to watch him go down. It's too dangerous. Everything's dangerous, Maya exploded. He's been hunting me for years. He's had spies watching my every move. He knows my routines, my fears, my deepest secrets. There is no safe place, Axel. There never was. She stepped toward him. Let me face him. Let me be the last thing he sees before they take him away. Axel stared at her for a long moment. Then slowly he nodded. You stay behind our lines. You don't move until I say so. And if anything goes wrong, I run. I know. No, his voice was fierce. If anything goes wrong, I will die before I let him touch you. Understand? Maya's breath caught. Axel. Understand. She nodded. Friday night arrived. Maya crouched behind a stack of shipping crates at the old warehouse on the edge of town. Axel was beside her along with Hammer and 6 other club members. Torres waited nearby with a team of officers ready to move the moment Derek showed himself. Gerald stood in the center of the warehouse alone waiting. 10 minutes passed. 20. Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. Maybe Derek wouldn't come. Maybe he'd sensed the trap. Maybe a door creaked open. Derek stepped into the warehouse. He looked different, thinner, wilder. His eyes darted around the space searching for threats. But he didn't see them. The club had hidden well, melting into the shadows like ghosts. Gerald, Derek's voice echoed off the walls. This better be good. It is, Gerald's voice shook. I found out where she's hiding. The bikers have a place on the edge of town. I know about the bikers, Derek cut him off. Tell me something I don't know. She's leaving. Tomorrow morning. They're putting her on a bus to California. Derek went still. You're sure? I heard them talking. She's running again. Thinks she can escape you. A slow smile spread across Derek's face. The smile of a predator closing in on prey. She'll never escape me, he said softly. She knows that. Deep down she knows. What are you going to do? What I should have done a long time ago. Derek reached into his jacket and pulled out a gun. I'm going to end this. Tonight. That was the signal. Lights blazed on from every direction. Club members emerged from the shadows, weapons drawn. Torres and her team stormed through the doors. Freeze, police, drop your weapon. Derek spun guns swinging wildly. His eyes found Maya in the chaos and something in them shattered. He screamed, you set me up. He raised the gun toward her. Time slowed. Maya saw the barrel, saw Derek's finger tighten on the trigger, saw death coming for her. Then Axel was there, throwing himself in front of her, shielding her body with his own. The gun fired. Axel jerked, stumbled, fell. No, Maya screamed. Everything exploded into chaos. Club members tackled Derek, wrestling the gun away. Torres shouted orders. Someone was calling for an ambulance. But Maya couldn't hear any of it. She was on her knees beside Axel, pressing her hands against the blood pouring from his chest. Stay with me, she begged. Axel, stay with me. His eyes found hers. He tried to smile. Worth it, he whispered. You're worth it. Then his eyes closed. Maya screamed. The ambulance arrived in 4 minutes. They loaded Axel onto a stretcher while Maya sobbed, Diana holding her back. Hammer's face was gray, his usual strength cracked. He's strong, Diana kept saying. He's survived worse. He'll make it. But Maya saw the paramedics' faces, saw the amount of blood on the warehouse floor. She knew. They rushed Axel to the hospital. Maya rode in the ambulance, holding his hand, whispering prayers she didn't even believe in anymore. Don't leave me, she begged. Please, please don't leave me. The hospital waiting room became a prison. Diana sat beside Maya, silent and pale. Hammer paced like a caged animal. Other club members filled the chairs, their leather vests incongruous against the sterile white walls. Torres arrived an hour later. Derek's in custody, she said. For good this time. Attempted murder, weapons charges, violation of bail conditions. He's not getting out. Maya barely heard her. Axel. No word yet. Torres hesitated. Maya, I'm so sorry. If we'd moved faster. Don't. Maya's voice was hollow. Just don't. Torres nodded and stepped away. 2 hours passed. 3, 4. Finally, a doctor emerged, young, tired, his expression unreadable. Maya shot to her feet. How is he? The bullet missed his heart by 2 centimeters, the doctor said. He lost a lot of blood, but we managed to stabilize him. He's alive. He's alive. He's going to need significant recovery time, but the doctor allowed himself a small smile. He's a fighter. He's going to make it. Maya's legs gave out. Diana caught her, lowering her into a chair. The club members erupted in relieved cheers, slapping backs and wiping tears. But Maya just sat there, trembling, unable to process the words. He's going to make it. Axel was going to live. They let her see him the next morning. He was awake barely, pale and weak and hooked up to a dozen machines. But when she walked through the door, his eyes found hers immediately. Hey, he said. His voice was a rasp. Hey, yourself. Maya sat beside his bed, took his hand. You scared me. Had to save you. You didn't have to take a bullet. A ghost of a smile. Worth it. Tears spilled down Maya's cheeks. You keep saying that, but you almost died, Axel. You almost left me. Never. His fingers tightened on hers. Never leaving you. Maya leaned forward, pressing her forehead to his hand. I thought I lost you, she whispered. I can't lose anyone else. I can't. You won't. His voice was steady despite the machines beeping around him. I'm right here. I'm staying right here. They sat like that for a long time, hands intertwined, the morning light filtering through the hospital windows. And for the first time in longer than she could remember, Maya allowed herself to believe in a future. Derek's trial was scheduled for 3 months out, but Maya wasn't afraid anymore. The evidence was overwhelming: the photographs, the notebook, the testimony of Gerald and Paul, the warehouse confrontation captured on police body cameras. Derek Vaughn was going to prison for the rest of his life, and Maya was going to be there to watch it happen. But first she had a promise to keep. Axel was discharged 2 weeks later against medical advice. He claimed the hospital bed was driving him crazy. Hammer said he just missed his motorcycle. Maya suspected it was something else entirely. You didn't have to come back so soon, she told him as they walked slowly toward the garage. His arm was in a sling, his movements careful and measured. Yes, I did. Why? He stopped, turned to face her. Because I made you a promise, that I'd be there until this was over. And it's not over yet. Derek's in jail. The trial's coming. It's over, Axel. No. His eyes held hers. Putting him in jail isn't the end. Rebuilding your life, that's the end. And I'm going to be there for that too. Maya's heart swelled. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. He stepped closer. I want to, if you'll let me. She looked at this man, this stranger who had become her protector, who had taken a bullet for her without hesitation, who really saw her in a way no one ever had. I'll let you, she whispered. Axel smiled, the first real smile she'd ever seen from him, and something shifted between them. Something that felt like hope, something that felt like the beginning of something new. 3 weeks passed. Axel healed slowly, too slowly for his liking, but Maya made sure he didn't push himself. She showed up at the garage every morning with coffee and breakfast. She changed his bandages when he was too stubborn to go to the doctor. She sat with him through the long nights when the pain kept him awake. You don't have to do this, he said one morning, wincing as she helped him with his sling. I know. I'm serious. You've got your own life to rebuild, your own healing to do. You don't need to be playing nurse for some broken-down biker. Maya stopped what she was doing, looked him dead in the eyes. You took a bullet for me, she said quietly. You almost died. For me. She shook her head. Booking you coffee is the least I can do. Axel held her gaze for a long moment. Something passed between them. Something neither of them was ready to name. Okay, he said finally, but I'm buying lunch. Deal. The days fell into a rhythm. Maya went back to work at the cafe. Doris had saved her job, told the regulars she'd been dealing with a family emergency. Nobody asked questions. That was the thing about Cedar Bay. People minded their own business. But the town felt different now. Every familiar face held a question mark. Every friendly wave made Maya wonder, were you watching me too? Were you part of Derek's network? How many people in this town wanted me dead? She tried to push the thoughts away, tried to focus on the future instead of the past. It wasn't easy. The nightmares came every night. Derek's face, his hands around her throat, the sound of the gunshot that nearly killed Axel. She'd wake up screaming, drenched in sweat, her heart pounding so hard she thought it would burst. Diana found her one night sitting on the steps behind the garage, unable to sleep. Bad dreams, Diana asked, sitting beside her. The worst. Want to talk about it? Maya shook her head. Then slowly she nodded. I keep seeing him, she whispered. Derek, in my dreams he always wins. He always catches me, and there's nothing I can do to stop him. Diana was quiet for a moment. You know he can't hurt you anymore, right? He's locked up. He's going to trial. It's over. My brain knows that. The rest of me, Maya trailed off. The rest of me is still in that alley, still feeling his hands around my throat. That's trauma, Diana said simply. It doesn't just go away because the threat is gone. It lives in your body, takes time to heal. How do you know so much about it? Diana's expression shifted. Something dark flickered in her eyes. Because I've been where you are, she said quietly. Different details, same story. Someone who was supposed to love me tried to destroy me instead. Maya stared at her. I didn't know. No one does. Not even most of the club. Diana smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. We all have our secrets, Maya, our scars. The trick is not letting them define us. How did you survive? The same way you're surviving, one day at a time, one breath at a time. Diana stood brushing off her jeans. It gets easier, I promise. The nightmares fade, the fear loosens its grip. And one day you wake up and realize you're not just surviving anymore. You're living. Maya wanted to believe her, she really did. But right now, survival felt like the best she could hope for. The call came 2 days before the trial. Maya was at the cafe refilling coffee cups when her phone buzzed. Torres's number. We have a problem, Torres said without preamble. Maya's blood ran cold. What kind of problem? Derek's lawyer filed a motion this morning. They're claiming the arrest was entrapment, that we violated his rights by using Gerald as a confidential informant. That's insane. He had a gun. He was going to kill me. I know, but his lawyer's good, really good. She's arguing that we manufactured the situation that Derek never would have shown up if we hadn't lured him there. Maya's legs went weak. She sat down heavily in the nearest booth. What does this mean? It means the judge is reviewing the case. There's a hearing tomorrow morning. Torres paused. There's a small chance that some of the evidence could be thrown out. And if it is, silence, Torres. If the evidence is thrown out, what happens? Then we're looking at a much weaker case. Maybe reduced charges. Maybe, Torres took a breath. Maybe he walks. The phone slipped from Maya's hand. He could walk. After everything, the stalking, the assault, the murder of Sarah Chen, the bullet that nearly killed Axel Derek Vaughn could walk free. Maya barely remembered leaving the cafe. Barely remembered driving to the garage. Barely remembered anything until she was standing in front of Axel, tears streaming down her face. He might get out, she said. They're saying he might get out. Axel's expression hardened. Tell me everything. She told him, every word Torres had said. The motion, the hearing, the possibility that Derek's lawyer could dismantle their case piece by piece. When she finished, Axel was silent for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone. What are you doing? Calling in reinforcements. The emergency meeting happened that night. Hammer was there along with Diana Spark Duchess and half a dozen other club members. Torres joined by a video call, her face grim. Here's where we stand, Torres said. Derek's lawyer is arguing an entrapment, illegal surveillance, and coercion of witnesses. If even one of those arguments sticks, we lose key pieces of evidence. What can we do? Axel asked. Pray the judge sees through the bullshit, Torres sighed, and prepare for the worst. That's not good enough, Maya said. Everyone looked at her. There has to be something else, some piece of evidence they can't throw out. Something that proves what Derek really is. Torres hesitated. There might be one thing. What? Derek's college girlfriend, the one who disappeared 15 years ago. Her case was never solved. If we could prove a connection. You said there was no evidence? Axel cut in. There wasn't. But I've been digging since Derek's arrest, and I found something. Torres leaned toward the camera. Her name was Jennifer Walsh. She vanished from her apartment in 2009. No body, no witnesses, no leads. So how does that help us? Because I found a witness, someone who saw Derek near Jennifer's apartment the night she disappeared. Someone who was too scared to come forward at the time. Maya's heart pounded. Who? Jennifer's roommate. A woman named Lisa Park. She's been living in hiding for 15 years, convinced Derek would come after her if she ever talked. Torres paused. She's agreed to testify. The room erupted. That changes everything, Diana exclaimed. It proves a pattern, Hammer added. Shows this isn't just about Maya. He's been doing this for years. There's a catch, Torres said, cutting through the noise. Lisa's testimony is only useful if the judge allows it, and Derek's lawyer is going to fight like hell to keep it out. Can she do that? Maya asked. She can try. It's going to come down to whether the judge thinks the prior bad acts are relevant to the current charges. And if they're not, Torres' expression was grim. Then we're back to square one. The hearing was set for 9 a.m. Maya didn't sleep that night. She sat in the Axel's room at the garage watching the clock tick toward dawn. "You should try to rest," Axel said. "I can't." "You may, Maya. What if he gets out?" Her voice cracked. "What if everything we did, everything you sacrificed was for nothing?" Axel moved to sit beside her, his shoulder pressed against hers, warm and solid. "Then we figure out another way," he said quietly. "We don't stop fighting. We don't give up." "How can you be so calm?" "Because I've been through worse." He turned to face her. "When Emma died, I wanted to give up. Wanted to just stop. Let the darkness swallow me whole. But I didn't. I kept fighting, kept moving forward, and eventually I found a reason to live again." "What reason?" His eyes held hers. "Helping people like you. Making sure what happened to Emma doesn't happen to anyone else." He paused. "And now I have another reason." Maya's breath caught. "Axel, I'm not saying this to pressure you. I know you've been through hell. I know the last thing you need is someone else making demands on your heart." He took her hand gentle as if she might break. "But I need you to know, whatever happens tomorrow, whatever happens with Derek, you're not alone. You'll never be alone again. Not as long as I'm breathing." Tears spilled down Maya's cheeks. She didn't wipe them away. "You barely know me," she whispered. "I know enough." His thumb traced circles on her palm. "I know you're brave. I know you're strong. I know you've survived things that would have destroyed most people. And I know that when I look at you, I see someone worth fighting for." Maya leaned into him, resting her head against his shoulder. His good arm wrapped around her, holding her close. They sat like that until the sun came up. The courtroom was packed. Maya sat in the front row, flanked by Axel and Diana. Behind them, a dozen club members filled the benches, their leather vests a stark contrast to the polished wood and formal attire around them. Derek's lawyer was a woman named Victoria Chase. Sharp suit, sharper eyes. She moved through this courtroom like she owned it, radiating confidence. Derek himself sat at the defense table, cleaned up in a suit and tie. He looked almost normal, almost harmless. But when his eyes found Maya across the room, she saw the truth. The monster was still there, waiting. "All rise," the bailiff called. "The Honorable Judge Margaret Chen presiding." The judge took her seat, stern-faced, unreadable. "We're here to address the defense's motion to suppress evidence," she said. "Ms. Chase, you may proceed." Victoria Chase stood buttoning her jacket. "Your Honor, the prosecution's case rests on evidence obtained through entrapment, coercion, in violation of my client's constitutional rights. The so-called sting operation at the warehouse was nothing more than a setup designed to provoke my client into objection." The prosecutor, a man named David Webb, rose to his feet. The defendant arrived at the warehouse armed with an illegal firearm. He fired that weapon at a civilian. This wasn't entrapment, it was a criminal caught in the act. The defendant was lured there under false pretenses. He was lured there because he'd been stalking and threatening Ms. Brooks for months. "Enough," Judge Chen's voice cut through the argument. "I've reviewed the briefs. I've seen the evidence. I don't need theatrics." She turned to Chase. "Ms. Chase, your entrapment argument is weak. Mr. Vaughn made the choice to arm himself. He made the choice to fire that weapon. No one forced his hand." Chase's expression didn't change, but Maya caught a flicker of something in her eyes. Frustration. "However," the judge continued, "I am concerned about the use of Mr. Morrison as an informant. His cooperation appears to have been coerced through threats of prosecution." "Your Honor," Webb started. "I'm not finished." Judge Chen's eyes were hard. "I'm also concerned about the relevance of the prior bad acts evidence the prosecution wishes to introduce. The Jennifer Walsh case is 15 years old. There was never an arrest, never a conviction. Allowing testimony about it could prejudice the jury against Mr. Vaughn." Maya's heart stopped. No. That said," the judge paused, "I've reviewed Ms. Park's statement. Her account is detailed, credible, and consistent with the pattern of behavior exhibited in the current case. I'm going to allow it." The defense table erupted. Chase was on her feet, objecting, demanding a recess. Derek's face twisted with rage. But Judge Chen was unmoved. "My ruling stands. Ms. Park's testimony will be admitted. We proceed to trial on Monday." She banged her gavel. Maya couldn't breathe. They won. They actually won. Outside the courtroom, Maya collapsed against the wall, her legs refusing to hold her. You okay? Axel was beside her immediately. I thought we were going to lose. Aki, she gasped. I thought he was going to walk. Not today. Axel's voice was fierce. Not ever. Torres appeared, phone in hand. Lisa Park's been moved to a safe house. She'll testify on Tuesday after the prosecution lays the groundwork. Is she scared? Maya asked. Terrified. But she's determined. She said, Torres paused. She said she's been waiting 15 years for this. She's not backing down now. Maya thought about Lisa. 15 years in hiding. 15 years of fear. All because she'd witnessed something she wasn't supposed to see. I want to talk to her, Maya said suddenly. Torres frowned. That's not a good idea. Witnesses shouldn't. I'm not going to discuss the case. Maya struggled to find the words. I need her to know she's not alone, that someone understands what she's been through. Torres studied her for a long moment. Then she nodded. I'll arrange it. The safe house was a small apartment on the outskirts of town. Maya went alone. Axel had wanted to come, but she'd insisted this was something she needed to do herself. Lisa Park answered the door on the third knock. She was small, thin, with gray threading through her dark hair. But her eyes were sharp, alert. The eyes of someone who'd spent 15 years looking over her shoulder. You're Maya, Lisa said, not a question. Yes. Lisa stepped aside, letting her in. They told me you might come. I wasn't sure if I wanted to see you. Why not? Because looking at you is like looking in a mirror. Lisa sat down heavily on the couch. Different face, same nightmare. Maya sat across from her. You knew Jennifer. She was my best friend. Lisa's voice cracked. We were supposed to be roommates forever. We had plans, dreams, and then Derek came along and… She shook her head. He destroyed everything. What happened? Lisa was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. Jennifer met Derek at a party. He was charming, handsome, everything a girl dreams about. She fell hard and fast. Lisa's hands twisted in her lap. I saw the signs early, the jealousy, the control, the way he isolated her from everyone who cared about her. I tried to warn her. She wouldn't listen. The abuse started slowly. It always does. Lisa looked at her. You know that better than anyone. Maya nodded. She did know. The night she disappeared, Jennifer called me, said she was leaving him, said she'd finally had enough. Lisa's voice broke. I was so proud of her, so relieved. I told her to come home, that we'd figure it out together. But she never came home. No. Tears slid down Lisa's cheeks. I waited all night, called her phone 100 times. Nothing. When the sun came up, I went to look for her. And I saw Derek outside her apartment. He was loading something into his car, something wrapped in a tarp. Lisa's body shook. He saw me watching. Our eyes met, and I knew what was in that tarp. Maya felt sick. Jennifer. He smiled at me, this cold, dead smile, and then he drove away. Lisa wiped her eyes with trembling hands. I ran, changed my name, disappeared. I've been hiding ever since. Why didn't you go to the police? Because I knew they wouldn't believe me. No body, no evidence, just my word against his. Lisa laughed bitterly. And Derek's family has money, power, connections. I was a nobody, a scared college kid who'd seen something she shouldn't have. Maya reached out, took Lisa's hand. You're not a nobody. And what you saw, it matters. It matters more than you know. Lisa looked at her. Do you really think we can stop him after all these years? Yes, Maya's voice was firm. I have to believe that. Otherwise, what's the point of any of this? Lisa was silent for a long moment, then slowly she nodded. You're brave, she said quietly. Braver than I ever was. No, I'm just tired of being afraid. The trial began on Monday. The courtroom was even more packed than before. News crews had caught wind of the case, the Hells Angels connection, the dramatic warehouse arrests, the years of stalking and abuse. It was the kind of story that sold papers and drove clicks. Maya hated it, hated seeing her trauma turned into entertainment. But if it meant putting Derek away forever, she'd endure it. The prosecution's opening statement was devastating. David Webb painted a picture of a man consumed by obsession. A man who'd spent years stalking, controlling, and abusing women. A man who'd killed before and would kill again if given the chance. Derek Vaughn is not a spurned lover, Webb said. He's a predator. And the evidence will show that Maya Brooks was not his first victim. She was simply the one who got away. Victoria Chase's opening was equally forceful, but Maya could see the cracks. The evidence was overwhelming. The witnesses were credible. Derek's carefully constructed facade was crumbling. The first 3 days were a parade of testimony. Officer Torres took the stand detailing the investigation. The photographs found in Derek's car, the notebook full of torture plans, the network of spies he'd built in Cedar Bay. Gerald Morrison testified, his voice shaking with shame and fear. He described how Derek had approached him, how he'd been paid to watch Maya, how he'd reported her every move without understanding what he was enabling. Paul Hendricks, the corrupt therapist, refused to testify, invoking his Fifth Amendment rights. But his silence spoke volumes. The jury watched him with contempt. And then it was Maya's turn. She took the stand on a Wednesday morning. Her hands were shaking. Her mouth was dry. Every eye in the courtroom was fixed on her. But when she looked at Derek, really looked at him, something shifted inside her. He didn't own her anymore. He never would again. Ms. Brooks, Webb began, can you describe your relationship with the defendant? Maya took a breath. Derek and I dated for 2 years. At first, he was everything I'd ever wanted, charming, attentive, romantic. But over time, things changed. Changed how? The controls started slowly, comments about my clothes, questions about where I'd been, who I'd talked to. He wanted to know everything. And when I didn't have the right answers, Maya paused. The abuse began. Can you describe the abuse? Maya told them everything. The verbal attacks, the isolation, the first time he hit her, the escalation that followed, the night she finally escaped. I left with nothing, she said, her voice steady. A backpack and $200. I drove for 3 days straight, changed my name, started over. And for 6 months, I thought I was free. What happened then? He found me. Maya's eyes met Derek's across the courtroom. He always finds me. She described the phone calls, the stalking, the attack in the alley, Axel's intervention, the network of spies Derek had built, the warehouse confrontation. When she finished, the courtroom was silent. Webb sat down. Chase stood. Ms. Brooks, she said smoothly, isn't it true that you initiated contact with my client after leaving Seattle? Maya frowned. No. You never called him, never sent messages. Never. Chase held up a piece of paper. I have phone records showing several calls from your number to my client's phone in the weeks after you left. Maya's blood went cold. That's impossible. The records don't lie, Ms. Brooks. Isn't it possible that you and my client had a complicated relationship? That perhaps you missed him, wanted to reconcile? No, absolutely not. Then how do you explain these calls? Maya's mind raced. The calls weren't from her. They couldn't be. Unless Derek had access to my phone, she said slowly. For 2 years. He knew my passwords, my accounts, everything. She looked at the jury. He could have spoofed those calls, made it look like they came from me. That's speculation, Ms. Brooks. It's the truth. Chase smiled, a shark scenting blood. The truth, Ms. Brooks, is that you're a woman scorned. You left my client, regretted it, and when he didn't take you back, you decided to destroy him. Objection. Webb was on his feet, withdrawn. Chase sat down, still smiling. Maya looked at the jury. Some faces were sympathetic. Others were uncertain. Had Chase planted a seed of doubt, would it be enough to save Derek? Maya didn't know, and that terrified her. Lisa Park took the stand the next day. Her voice was soft. Her hands trembled, but she didn't waver. She told the jury about Jennifer Walsh, about the abuse she'd witnessed, about the night Jennifer disappeared, about Derek loading something into his car. I've lived with this for 15 years, Lisa said, tears streaming down her face. I've been afraid every single day, but I couldn't stay silent anymore. Not when I knew he was doing it again. Not when I knew another woman's life was at stake. Chase tried to tear her apart on cross-examination, called her testimony hearsay, questioned her memory, suggested she was motivated by money, by fame, by a grudge against Derek. Lisa didn't break. "I know what I saw," she said quietly. "I've never been more certain of anything in my life." The defense's case was weak. Chase called character witnesses, friends, co-workers, people who described Derek as kind, generous, misunderstood. But their words rang hollow against the mountain of evidence. Derek himself took the stand on the final day. He was calm, composed, playing the victim. "I love Maya," he said, his voice cracking with practiced emotion. "I made mistakes, I know that, but I never meant to hurt her. I couldn't let her go." "And the photographs," Webb asked during cross-examination, "the notebook detailing how you planned to torture and kill her. That was just fantasy, a way to cope with the pain of losing her." Derek looked at the jury with pleading eyes. "I never would have actually done anything." "And the gun? The one you brought to the warehouse?" Derek hesitated. "I was scared. I thought the bikers were going to hurt me. I was just protecting myself." "By shooting an unarmed man, that was an accident. By trying to shoot the woman you claimed to love." Derek's mask slipped, just for a second, just long enough for the jury to see the monster underneath. "She made me do it," he snarled. "She drove me to this. Everything that happened is her fault." The courtroom fell silent. Webb sat down. He didn't need to say anything else. Closing arguments lasted 2 hours. Webb was methodical, devastating. He walked the jury through every piece of evidence, every witness, every lie Derek had told. "This is not a man driven by love," Webb said. "This is a predator who believes women are property, who believes he can control abuse and murder with impunity." He pointed at Derek. Jennifer Walsh was his first victim. Maya Brooks was almost his second. If you don't stop him today, there will be a third, and a fourth, and more. Chase did her best, raised doubts, pointed to inconsistencies, pleaded for mercy, but even she seemed to know it was over. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Maya sat in the hallway, unable to eat, unable to speak, unable to do anything but wait. Axel was beside her. Diana was beside him. The whole club had shown up, filling the benches, a wall of leather and loyalty. When the bailiff called them back, Maya's legs almost gave out. Axel caught her. "I've got you. Whatever happens, I've got you." They filed back into the courtroom. The foreman stood. "On the count of stalking in the first degree, we find the defendant guilty." Maya's breath caught. "On the count of assault in the first degree, we find the defendant guilty." Tears blurred her vision. "On the count of attempted murder, we find the defendant guilty." The courtroom erupted. Maya collapsed against Axel, sobbing. Derek was screaming, fighting against the bailiffs as they dragged him away. "This isn't over," he shrieked. "Maya, this isn't over. I'll find you. I'll always find you." But his voice faded as the doors closed behind him. And for the first time in 3 years, Maya could breathe. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Judge Chen looked at Derek with cold contempt. "Mr. Vaughn, you have shown no remorse for your actions. You have terrorized, abused, and nearly killed multiple women. You are a danger to society." She paused. "I sentence you to 45 years in state prison without the possibility of parole." Derek said nothing. His eyes found Maya across the courtroom. She held his gaze and smiled. 45 years. He would die in prison. He would never hurt anyone again. It was over. It was finally over. Outside the courthouse, Maya was mobbed by reporters. "Mrs. Brooks, how do you feel? What will you do now? Do you have a message for other survivors of domestic violence?" Axel tried to shield her, but Maya held up a hand. "I have one thing to say," she said, her voice strong and clear. "To every woman out there who's being hurt by someone who claims to love them, you are not alone. You are not weak, and you can survive this. I'm living proof." She turned and walked away, Axel at her side. Behind her, the cameras flashed and the questions continued. But Maya didn't look back. She was done looking back. The first week after the verdict was the hardest. Maya thought she'd feel relief, freedom, joy. Instead, she felt nothing. A vast, empty nothing that swallowed her whole. It's normal, her new therapist told her. A woman named Dr. Chen, no relation to the judge who specialized in trauma survivors. You've been running on adrenaline for months. Years, really. Now that the threat is gone, your body doesn't know what to do. So I just feel empty. For now, the emotions will come. They always do. Dr. Chen leaned forward. The question is, Maya, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? Maya didn't have an answer. She went back to work at the cafe. Doris welcomed her with open arms and a raise she hadn't asked for. The regulars treated her like a celebrity, the woman who'd taken down her abuser and lived to tell about it. Maya hated it. They look at me like I'm some kind of hero, she told Axel one night. They were sitting on the steps behind the garage watching the stars. His sling was off now, though he still moved carefully. I'm not a hero. I'm just someone who got lucky. You're not lucky, Axel said. You're strong. There's a difference. I don't feel strong. That's because you're measuring yourself against some impossible standard. He turned to face her. Maya, you survived 2 years of abuse. You had the courage to leave. You testified in open court. You helped put a predator behind bars. How is that not strength? Maya was quiet for a long moment. I had help. You, the club, Torres, without all of you. Without all of us, you still would have fought. Maybe differently, maybe not as successfully, but you would have petit. Axel's voice was certain. That's who you are, a fighter. Maya wanted to believe him. She really did. But the emptiness persisted. 2 weeks after the verdict, Torres called. I have news, she said. Good news for once. Maya braced herself. In her experience, good news always came with a catch. Jennifer Walsh's family contacted me. They want to meet you. Maya's breath caught. Why? Because of Lisa Park's testimony. Because of your case. The investigation into Jennifer's disappearance has been reopened. They're searching Derek's old properties, and they found something. Maya's heart pounded. What? Remains, human remains. They're running DNA tests now, but they're almost certain it's Jennifer. Maya sat down heavily. After 15 years, after all this time. Her family wants to thank you, Torres continued. They said your courage, yours and Lisa's, gave them something they'd given up on ever having, closure. Maya didn't know what to say, didn't know what to feel. Will you meet them? Torres asked. Yes, Maya heard herself say. Yes, I'll meet them. The Walshes were ordinary people. Jennifer's mother, Patricia, was in her 60s now. Gray hair, tired eyes, hands that shook when she reached for Maya's. Thank you, Patricia whispered, tears streaming down her face. Thank you for being brave when my daughter couldn't be. I'm so sorry for your loss, Maya said. The words felt inadequate, hollow. Don't be sorry, be proud. Patricia squeezed her hands. You stopped him. After everything he did to Jennifer, to you, to God knows how many others, you stopped him. Jennifer's father, Robert, stood behind his wife, silent and stoic. But Maya saw his eyes glistening. If there's anything we can do, he said gruffly, anything at all, you just ask. Maya thought about it, really thought about it. There is one thing, she said slowly. The idea had been growing in her mind for days. A tiny seed planted by Diana's words about surviving, about not letting scars define you. I want to start a support group, Maya said, for survivors of domestic violence. A place where women can come and share their stories and not feel alone. Patricia's face lit up. That's beautiful. I want to call it Jennifer's house, in honor of your daughter. Maya paused. If that's okay with you. Patricia burst into tears. Robert's stoic facade cracked. They both embraced Maya, holding her tight. It's more than okay, Patricia sobbed. It's perfect. It's exactly what Jenny would have wanted. The first meeting of Jennifer's house happened 3 weeks later. Maya had expected maybe 5 or 6 women. Instead, 23 showed up. They filled the community center's meeting room, sitting in folding chairs arranged in a circle. Some were young, barely out of their teens. Others were old enough to be Maya's mother. Different races, different backgrounds, different stories, but the same fear in their eyes, the same wounds in their hearts. Maya stood before them, knees shaking, voice trembling. My name is Maya Brooks, she said, and I'm a survivor. The room was silent. Every eye was on her. For 2 years, I was in an abusive relationship. I was hit. I was controlled. I was made to believe I was worthless. And for a long time, I thought that was all I deserved. She paused, took a breath. But I was wrong. We're all wrong when we believe that. Because we deserve love. Real love. Love that doesn't hurt. Love that doesn't control. Love that lifts us up instead of tearing us down. A woman in the front row started crying. Another reached for her hand. I started this group because I know what it feels like to be alone. To feel like no one understands. To think that there's no way out. Maya's voice grew stronger. But there is a way out. And you don't have to find it alone. That's why we're here. To support each other. To lift each other up. To prove that we're not victims, we're survivors. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. Women rushed forward to hug her, to thank her, to share their own stories and rush tearful whispers. Maya had never felt anything like it. For the first time since the verdict, the emptiness began to fade. The support group grew faster than Maya ever imagined. Within a month, they'd outgrown the community center. Patricia Walsh donated money to rent a proper space, a small building downtown, that they converted into a welcoming, comfortable refuge. Diana became Maya's right hand, handling logistics and scheduling, while Maya focused on the women themselves. Axel provided security, making sure the meetings were safe from angry exes in dangerous situations. "You've built something special," Axel told her one night. They were alone in Jennifer's house cleaning up after a particularly emotional meeting. "Something that's going to change lives." "It already has," Maya smiled. "A woman came up to me tonight, said she left her husband last week, said hearing my story gave her the courage to finally walk out the door." "How does that feel?" Like maybe everything I went through wasn't for nothing. Like maybe there was a reason." Axel moved closer. "There's always a reason, even when we can't see it." Their eyes met. Something electric passed between them. "Axel," Maya whispered. "I know." His voice was rough. "I know it's too soon. I know you need time. I'm not trying to pressure you. You're not." She stepped toward him. "You've never pressured me. Not once. You've just been there. Through everything. Even when I pushed you away. I'm not going anywhere." "I know." She took his hand. "That's what scares me." "Why top on no?" "Because everyone I've ever trusted has hurt me. Everyone I've ever loved has let me down. And you?" She shook her head. "You're different. I can feel it. But part of me is still waiting for the other shoe to drop." Axel lifted her hand to his lips, kissed her knuckles gently. "I can't promise I'll never hurt you," he said quietly. "I can't promise I'll be perfect, but I can promise that I'll never stop trying. That I'll never stop fighting for you, for us. There's an us if you want there to be." Maya looked at this man, this scarred, broken, beautiful man who had saved her life and asked for nothing in return, who had taken a bullet for her, who looked at her like she was something precious. "I want there to be," she whispered. Axel's smile was like sunrise, warm and bright and full of promise. He pulled her close, his arms wrapping around her with infinite gentleness. And when his lips finally met hers, Maya felt something she'd thought she'd never feel again. Hope. 3 months passed. Jennifer's house became a fixture in Cedar Bay. Women came from all over the county, sometimes from other states, seeking help, seeking hope, seeking a community that understood. Maya trained volunteers, organized fundraisers, spoke at schools and churches and community centers about domestic violence awareness. Her story was featured in local newspapers, then regional ones, then national outlets. "You're becoming famous," Diana teased her one afternoon. "I don't want to be famous. I just want to help." "Well, too bad. You're helping and you're famous. Deal with it." Maya laughed, actually laughed, something she'd thought she'd forgotten how to do. Her relationship with Axel deepened slowly, carefully. He understood her need for space, her triggers, her moments of doubt. He never pushed, never demanded, just loved her steadily and surely in a way she'd never experienced before. "I don't deserve you," she told him one night. "You deserve everything," he replied, "and I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you know that." But happiness, Maya had learned, was never permanent. The call came on a Tuesday morning. Maya was at Jennifer's house preparing for the afternoon session when her phone buzzed. Torres's number. "Maya." Torres's voice was strange, tight. "I need you to sit down." Maya's blood ran cold. What happened? There was an incident at the prison last night, a riot in Derek's cell block. Maya's heart stopped. Is he? He's alive. Torres paused, but he escaped. The world tilted. Maya grabbed the nearest chair to stay upright. That's impossible. You said 45 years. I know what I said, but during the riot, several inmates got out. Most were recaptured within hours. Derek wasn't one of them. How long has he been free? 12 hours. 12 hours. Derek had been free for 12 hours while Maya was sleeping, working, living her life without a clue. Where is he? We don't know. We've got every available unit looking for him, state police, FBI, everyone. Torres' voice hardened. Maya, I need you to get somewhere safe. Now. I'm at Jennifer's house. Go to the club. Go to Axel. Don't be alone, not for a second. Torres paused. Maya, I promise you we're going to find him. This is going to be over soon. Maya hung up. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the phone. 12 hours. Derek had been free for 12 hours. And he was coming for her. She knew it, felt it in her bones. The nightmare wasn't over. It was just beginning again. Axel arrived in 10 minutes. He burst through the door of Jennifer's house, face tight with fear and fury. I heard, he said, pulling her into his arms. Torres called me right after she called you. Maya clung to him. He's going to find me. He always finds me. Not this time, Axel's voice was steel. We know he's coming. We'll be ready. You can't protect me forever. Watch me. He pulled back, gripping her shoulders, forcing her to meet his eyes. Listen to me. We've beaten him before. We'll beat him again. He's one man desperate on the run with every cop in the state looking for him. He's not going to get anywhere near you. Maya wanted to believe him, but she knew Derek, knew his obsession, knew he'd rather die than let her go. He's not going to stop, she whispered. Not until one of us is dead. Axel's jaw tightened. And we make sure it's him. The club went on high alert. Members rotated shifts, watching Jennifer's house, Maya's apartment, the cafe, every place she might be. Hammer coordinated with Torres, sharing information, pooling resources. He's got no money, no vehicle, no contacts, Hammer said during the emergency meeting. He's running blind. That makes him dangerous, but it also makes him desperate. Desperate men make mistakes. And when he makes one, Diana asked, we end this. Permanently. Maya sat in the corner silent. She'd gone somewhere inside herself, a place where the fear couldn't touch her. A survival mechanism she'd developed during her years with Derek. Axel noticed. Of course he noticed. Hey, he crouched in front of her. Stay with me. I'm here. No, you're not. You're somewhere else. Somewhere dark. He took her hands. Don't go there, Maya. Don't let him take you back to that place. I can't help it. It's like muscle memory, the fear, the panic. My body remembers even when my mind tries to forget. Then let me help you remember something else. Axel's voice was fierce. Remember how strong you are. Remember what you've built. Remember that you're not the same scared woman who ran from Seattle. You've got an army behind you now. You've got me. Maya looked at him, really looked at him, and slowly she came back. Okay, she whispered. Okay. 2 days passed, no sign of Derek. Maya went through the motions, working at Jennifer's house, meeting with the support group, pretending everything was normal. But underneath, she was coiled tight as a spring, waiting for the blow to fall. It came on the third day. Maya was at the cafe helping Doris with the lunch rush when her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Then something made her swipe. Hello. Heavy breathing. Then Derek's voice, calm and cold and utterly mad. Did you miss me, baby? Maya's blood turned to ice. How did you get this number? I have my ways. She could hear his smile. I've been watching you. These past few days, you look good, healthy, happy. His voice hardened. That's going to change. The police are looking for you. You can't hide forever. I don't need forever. I just need one night. Derek laughed softly. Tell me, Maya, do you still have nightmares about me? Do you still wake up screaming? Maya's hand shook. What do you want? What I've always wanted, you. His voice dropped. Meet me tonight. Alone. The old warehouse on Harbor Road. Midnight. Why would I do that? Because if you don't, I'm going to start killing people you care about, starting with that old woman at the cafe. Maya's eyes shot to Doris, who was wiping down a table across the room. Oblivious, innocent. You're bluffing. Am I? Derek's voice was cold. Look outside. Maya turned toward the window. Across the street in the shadows of an alley, a figure stood watching. Even from this distance, she could see Derek's smile. Then he raised a hand, waved, and vanished. Midnight, Derek said. Don't be late. And Maya, come alone. If I see any of your biker friends, Doris dies first. The line went dead. Maya stood frozen, the phone clutched in her white-knuckled grip. He was here in Cedar Bay, watching her right now, and he was going to kill everyone she loved unless she stopped him. She didn't tell Axel. She knew she should. Knew it was stupid, reckless, suicidal to even consider meeting Derek alone. But she also knew Axel. He'd never let her go. He'd insist on coming on, bringing the whole club on, turning the warehouse into a war zone. And Derek would see them coming, and people would die. This was her fight, her nightmare, her responsibility. She had to end it herself. Maya spent the rest of the day acting normal, smiling, laughing, pretending everything was fine. When Axel came to pick her up that evening, she kissed him and told him she was tired, that she wanted to go to bed early. You sure you're okay? He asked, studying her face. I'm fine, just exhausted. He didn't look convinced, but he didn't push. I'll be right outside. Anything happens, you scream. I know. She watched him go, memorized the way he walked, the breadth of his shoulders, the way he turned back to look at her one last time before closing the door. If this went wrong, it might be the last time she ever saw him. Maya waited until 11:30, then she slipped out the back window. The walk to Harbor Road took 20 minutes. Maya moved through the shadows, avoiding streetlights, staying out of sight. Her heart pounded so hard she could hear it in her ears. The warehouse loomed ahead, a hulking skeleton of rust and broken glass. It had been abandoned for years, a relic of the town's industrial past. Maya stopped at the entrance, took a breath. This was it, the final confrontation. She pushed open the door and stepped inside. Derek was waiting. He stood in the center of the warehouse, illuminated by a shaft of moonlight through a broken skylight. He looked different, thinner, wilder, his eyes burning with a light that had nothing to do with sanity. You came, he said. I knew you would. I'm here, let's end this. Derek laughed. End this? Baby, this is just the beginning. He started walking toward her. Do you know what it was like in that prison, surrounded by animals, knowing you were out here, living your life, being happy, being free? You put yourself there. No, his voice turned sharp. You put me there. You and your biker friends and that bitch Lisa Park. He was close now, too close. But that's okay, because I had a lot of time to think, to plan, to imagine exactly what I was going to do when I got out. Maya held her ground. What are you going to do, Derek? Kill me. Then what, you'll spend the rest of your life in prison. Or dead. At least I'll know you're not breathing the same air as me. His hand shot out, grabbing her arm. You ruined my life, Maya. My career, my family, my future. All because you couldn't just be a good girl and do what you were told. Maya's fear crystallized into something harder, something colder. No, she said quietly, you ruined your own life. The moment you decided women were property instead of people. The moment you raised your hand to Jennifer Walsh, to me, to all the others we don't even know about. Derek's face twisted. Don't say her name. Jennifer Walsh, a girl who loved you, a girl who trusted you, a girl you murdered because she tried to leave. Shut up. He shoved her. She stumbled back but didn't fall. You killed her. Maya continued, her voice steady. You killed her and buried her like garbage. And then you moved on to your next victim. And your next, and your next. I said, shut up, he lunged. Maya dodged, putting a pile of debris between them. How many, Derek? How many women did you hurt before me? How many after? You don't know what you're talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about, because I survived you, and I'm going to make sure no one else has to. Derek's face went blank, empty, the mask falling away to reveal the monster beneath. You think you're so brave, he said softly. Coming here alone, confronting me. But you're not brave, Maya. You're just stupid. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a knife. Did you really think this was going to end any other way? Maya's heart hammered, but she didn't run. Actually, she said, I did. The warehouse doors burst open. Axel charged through, first followed by Hammer Diana and a dozen club members. Behind them, Torres and her team swarmed in weapons-drawn flashlights cutting through the darkness. Derek spun knife raised. What? How? Did you really think I'd let her come alone? Axel's voice was deadly calm. Did you really think I wouldn't notice her slipping out the window? Maya's heart swelled. He'd known. Of course he'd known. You tracked me. Tracked you, followed you, and called for backup. Axel moved to stand beside her, his body a shield between her and Derek. You're brave, Maya, but you're also stubborn as hell. We're going to talk about that later. Derek backed toward the wall, eyes darting, looking for escape. This doesn't change anything. I'll get out again. I'll always come back. No. Torres stepped forward, handcuffs ready. You won't. Derek Vaughn, you're under arrest for prison escape stalking and attempted murder. And this time you're going to a federal facility. Maximum security. No riots, no escapes, no second chances. Derek's face crumbled. The madness in his eyes flickered, then died. Maya. His voice was broken, pleading. Maya, please. I love you. I've always loved you. Everything I did because I couldn't live without you. Maya looked at him. Really looked at him, maybe for the first time, and she felt nothing. Not fear, not anger, not even pity, just nothing. You don't know what love is, she said quietly. You never did. She turned her back on him. Behind her, Derek screamed her name as Torres cuffed him and dragged him away. But Maya didn't look back. She was done looking back. Axel pulled her into his arms the moment they were outside. Don't ever do that again, he growled into her hair. Don't ever scare me like that again. I'm sorry, I know what you thought, that you had to face him alone, that you had to protect everyone. He pulled back, cupping her face in his hands. But that's not how this works, Maya. We're a team. We face things together. Always. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I didn't want anyone else to get hurt. The only one who would have gotten hurt was you. His voice cracked. And I can't lose you. Not now, not after everything. You're not going to lose me. Promise. She reached up, touching his face. This scarred, beautiful face that had become her whole world. I promised. He kissed her then. Deep and fierce and desperate. A kiss that tasted like relief and joy, and the promise of a future neither of them had dared to hope for. When they finally pulled apart, the first rays of dawn were breaking over the horizon. A new day, a new beginning. Torres approached them, looking exhausted but satisfied. It's done, she said. Derek's on his way to federal custody. He's never going to see the outside of a prison cell again. Maya nodded. Thank you for everything. Don't thank me. You're the one who stopped him. Torres smiled. You're the bravest person I've ever met, Maya Brooks. Don't let anyone tell you different. She walked away to coordinate with her team. Maya leaned against Axel, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline was fading, leaving her hollow and drained. Take me home, she whispered. Axel kissed her forehead. Anything you want. They walked toward his motorcycle, the rising sun warming their backs. The club members fell in around them, a protective circle of leather and loyalty. Maya looked at these people, these strangers who had become family, who had risked everything to protect her, who had never asked for anything in return. Thank you, she said, her voice breaking. All of you. Hammer shrugged, but his eyes were soft. Family sticks together. Diana squeezed her hand. Always. Maya climbed onto the back of Axel's bike, wrapping her arms around his waist. The engine roared to life, vibrating through her body. As they rode through the quiet streets of Cedar Bay, Maya felt something she'd thought she'd never feel again. Peace. Real, lasting, unshakable peace. The nightmare was finally over, and the rest of her life was just beginning. 6 months changed everything. Maya woke up on a Tuesday morning in April sunlight, warming her face, and realized she couldn't remember the last time she'd had a nightmare. The thought stopped her cold. She lay there staring at the ceiling, waiting for the fear to come rushing back. It didn't. You okay? Axel's voice was rough with sleep. He was beside her, one arm draped across her waist, his face half buried in the pillow. Yeah, Maya smiled. I think I really am. She'd moved into the small house behind the garage 3 months ago. It wasn't official, they didn't call it living together, but her toothbrush was in his bathroom, and her clothes were in his closet, and she couldn't remember the last time she'd slept anywhere else. What time is it? Axel mumbled. Almost 7. He groaned. Too early. I have a meeting at Jennifer's house at 9, and you promised to help Hammer with the charity ride planning. I hate that you're a morning person. Maya laughed and kissed his forehead. Get up, old man. I'm 39, that's not old. Whatever you say, Grandpa. He grabbed her, pulling her back down, and she shrieked with laughter as he tickled her mercilessly. They ended up tangled together, breathless and grinning, and for a moment Maya just looked at him. This man, this scarred, beautiful, impossible man who had saved her life and taught her how to live again. I love you, she said. The words came out easily now. It had taken months to say them, the first time months of therapy and trust building and learning that love didn't have to hurt. But now they flowed like water. Axel's expression softened. I love you too. He kissed her slow and deep, and Maya felt that familiar warmth spread through her chest, the warmth of safety, of belonging, of home. Jennifer's house had grown beyond anything Maya had imagined. What started as a support group in a rented room had become a full-fledged organization. They had a proper building, now donated by Patricia Walsh, with offices and meeting spaces and emergency housing for women fleeing dangerous situations. Maya walked through the front door that morning and felt the same rush of pride she felt every day. This was her legacy, her purpose, the reason she had survived everything Derek had put her through. Morning, boss. Diana looked up from the reception desk, coffee cup in hand. Big day today. Don't remind me. The big day was the official grand opening of Jennifer's house's second location, a sister facility in Portland funded by donations and grants and a surprising amount of corporate sponsorship. Maya had been working toward this for months, but now that it was actually happening, the reality felt overwhelming. You nervous? Diana asked. Terrified. Good. That means you care. Diana smiled. You're going to be great. Maya wasn't so sure, but she'd learned to fake confidence even when she didn't feel it. The morning passed in a blur of meetings and phone calls and last-minute preparations. By noon, Maya's head was spinning. She'd just finished a conference call with the Portland team when her phone buzzed. Torres's number. Maya's stomach clenched. Even now, months after Derek's transfer to federal prison calls from Torres made her nervous. Hello. Maya, I have news. Torres's voice was strange. Not bad strange, but not good strange either. Derek Vaughn died this morning. The world stopped. Maya sat down slowly, her legs suddenly unable to hold her. What heart attack? In his cell. The prison doctors tried to revive him, but... Torres paused. He's gone, Maya. It's really over. Maya didn't know what to feel, relief, grief. Some twisted combination of both. Are you sure? I'm sure. I saw the body myself. Torres' voice softened. I thought you'd want to know right away. Thank you. She hung up. For a long moment, Maya just sat there, the phone clutched in her hand. Derek was dead. The man who had haunted her nightmares, who had controlled her life, who had tried to kill her, dead. She should feel something. Joy. Liberation. Closure. Instead, she felt empty. Diana found her 10 minutes later, still sitting in the same spot. Maya, what happened? Derek's dead. Diana's eyes went wide. How? A heart attack this morning. Maya shook her head. I don't know what to feel. Diana sat beside her. Balm, you don't have to feel anything. Not right now. It's okay to be confused. I thought I'd be happy or relieved or something. Maya's voice cracked. But I just feel numb. That's normal. Diana took her hand. He was a huge part of your life. A terrible part, but still. It's okay to need time to process. Maya nodded. But inside, she felt like she was drowning in a sea of emotions she couldn't name. Axel arrived within 20 minutes of Diana's call. He didn't say anything, just walked through the door, crossed the room, and pulled Maya into his arms. She broke. All the emotions she'd been holding back came flooding out. She sobbed into his chest, great heaving sobs that shook her whole body. Years of fear, Years of pain, years of looking over her shoulder waiting for the monster to return, and now it was over. Really, truly over. "I've got you," Axel murmured, holding her tight. "I've got you." "He's gone," Maya choked out. "He's really gone. He's gone. He can never hurt you again." I know, I know." She pulled back, wiping her eyes. "I don't know why I'm crying. I should be celebrating." "You're crying because you're human, because you've been carrying this weight for years and now it's finally been lifted." Axel cupped her face in his hands. "There's no right way to feel about this, Maya. Just let yourself feel whatever comes." Maya looked at him. This man who understood her better than anyone ever had. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you too." He kissed her forehead. "Now come on, let's get out of here." "But the grand opening can wait a few hours. You need time to process this." He took her hand. "Let's take a ride." They rode for hours. No destination, no plan, just the open road and the wind in their faces and the rumble of the engine beneath them. Maya held on to Axel, her arms wrapped around his waist, and let the world blur past. She thought about Derek, about the man he'd been when she first met him, charming, attentive, everything she'd ever wanted, and the monster he'd become, the monster he'd maybe always been. She thought about Jennifer Walsh, the girl who'd loved him first, who'd trusted him, who'd paid for that trust with her life. She thought about Sarah Chen, about Gerald Morrison and Paul Hendricks, and all the others who'd been caught in Derek's web, victims and accomplices and everyone in between. And she thought about herself, the woman she'd been before Derek, the woman he'd tried to destroy, and the woman she'd become after stronger, braver, more alive than she'd ever been. Derek had taken so much from her, but he'd also given her something in a twisted way. He'd given her purpose, direction, a reason to fight. Jennifer's house existed because of what he'd done to her. Hundreds of women had found help and hope because of Maya's pain. Good had come from evil. That didn't make it okay. Nothing would ever make it okay. But it helped. They stopped at a cliff overlooking the ocean. Maya climbed off the bike and walked to the edge, the salt wind whipping her hair. Below, waves crashed against the rocks, endless and eternal. Axel stood beside her, silent, waiting. "I used to dream about killing him," Maya said finally. "In the beginning, when I first escaped, I'd lie awake at night and imagining ways to make him suffer, make him pay for everything he'd done. That's normal. I know, but it scared me, the intensity of it. I'd never felt hatred like that before." She paused. "And now he's dead, and I didn't have to do anything. It just happened. How does that feel? Anticlimactic." Maya laughed bitterly. "I spent years being terrified of him, years fighting him, and in the end his own heart gave out. No dramatic confrontation, no final battle, just gone." "Maybe that's the best way," Axel said quietly. "You don't need more drama. You don't need more trauma. You've been through enough." But I wanted closure, real closure. I wanted to look him in the eyes and tell him he didn't win, that I survived, that I'm happy. "You did survive. You are happy." Axel turned to face her. "That's the best revenge, Maya. Not making him suffer, not watching him die. Just living your life, being free, being loved." Maya felt tears prick her eyes again. "When did you get so wise?" "I'm not wise, I just know what matters." He pulled her close. "You matter. Your life matters. Everything else is just noise." They stood there for a long time holding each other as the sun sank toward the horizon. And somewhere deep inside Maya, something shifted. Something settled. Derek was gone, but she was still here, and she was finally free. The grand opening was a blur. Maya gave a speech. She didn't remember what she said, but everyone applauded. Politicians shook her hand. Reporters took her picture. Survivors hugged her and thanked her and told her she'd saved their lives. Through it all, Axel stood in the background watching with quiet pride. "You did good," he told her afterward. "Really good. I couldn't have done any of it without you." "Yes, you could have." He kissed her temple. "I just made it a little easier." The party lasted until midnight. When it was finally over, Maya was exhausted but exhilarated. Jennifer's house, Portland, was real, tangible, a second beacon of hope in a world that desperately needed it. What's next? Diana asked as they cleaned up. Maya thought about it. San Francisco, then Seattle, then wherever we're needed. Diana grinned. You're going to take over the world, aren't you? Just the parts that need saving. They laughed together, two women who had been through hell and come out the other side. Two survivors who had become warriors. Maya didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in her life, she wasn't afraid to find out. 1 year later, Maya stood in front of a crowd of 500 people. The Cedar Bay Community Center was packed, standing room only for the first annual Jennifer Walsh Memorial Gala. She wore a blue dress that Axel had picked out for her. It matches your eyes, he'd said, and she'd laughed and called him a sap. But she'd worn it anyway. 1 year ago, Maya began her slow and steady. I was a woman in hiding, a woman running from her past, a woman who believed she would never be safe, never be happy, never be free. The crowd was silent, hanging on her every word. Today I stand before you as proof that survival is possible, that healing is possible, that hope even in the darkest moments is possible. She glanced at Axel, who stood at the side of the room with Hammer and Diana and the rest of the club. He smiled at her, and she felt her heart swell. Jennifer's house started as a dream, a way to honor a woman I never met, but whose story changed my life. In the past year, we've helped over 2,000 women escape abusive situations. We've provided shelter counseling, legal aid, and most importantly, hope. Applause rippled through the crowd. But we're not done, not even close. Maya's voice grew stronger. Every day women suffer in silence. They're told their pain doesn't matter. They're told no one will believe them. They're told they have no way out. She leaned into the microphone. I'm here to tell them and everyone listening that's a lie. There is always a way out. There is always hope. And there are people who will fight for you even when you can't fight for yourself. The applause was thunderous now. People rose to their feet. To every woman out there who's still trapped, I see you. I believe you. And I will never stop fighting for you. She stepped back from the podium and the room erupted. Patricia Walsh was the first to reach her. The woman who had lost her daughter to Derek's violence now stood with tears streaming down her face. Jennifer would be so proud, Patricia whispered, hugging her tight. So proud. I hope so, Maya said. I really hope so. The gala raised over $200,000. Maya was still processing that number when Axel found her on the back patio away from the noise in the crowds. Hiding, he asked. Breathing, she smiled. It's been a lot. Good lot or bad lot? Good, definitely good. She looked up at the stars. I just needed a minute. Axel stood beside her, close but not touching, giving her space to breathe. I've been thinking, he said after a moment. Dangerous activity. He laughed. Very. Then his expression grew serious. I've been thinking about us, about the future. Maya's heart skipped. What about it? I know we've never really talked about it. The long term. What happens next? He turned to face her. But I want to, if you're ready. Ready for what? Axel reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Maya's breath stopped. I'm not good at speeches, Axel said, his voice rough. You know that. I'm better with actions than words. But I need you to hear this. He opened the box. Inside was a ring, simple, elegant, a single diamond on a silver band. Maya Brooks, you are the strongest person I've ever known. You've survived things that would have destroyed most people. You've built something incredible out of nothing but pain and determination. And somewhere along the way, you gave me something I never thought I'd have again. What? Maya whispered. A reason to live. His eyes glistened. Before you, I was just going through the motions, waiting to die, hoping it would come sooner rather than later. And then you walked into my life, or I walked into yours in that alley, and everything changed. Maya felt tears streaming down her face, but she didn't wipe them away. I don't deserve you, Axel continued. I know that. I'm too old, too broken, too scarred. But I love you more than I've ever loved anything in my life, and I want to spend whatever time I have left making you happy. He held up the ring. Maya Brooks, will you marry me? For a moment, Maya couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything but stare at this man, this impossible, beautiful, damaged man who had become her whole world. Then she threw herself into his arms. Yes, she sobbed. Yes, yes, yes. Axel caught her, holding her tight, laughing and crying at the same time. Yeah. Yes, you idiot. Of course, yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. I love you, Maya said, looking at it, and I love you so much it scares me. Don't be scared. Axel cupped her face in his hands. I've got you. I'll always have you. He kissed her, then deep and fierce and full of promise. A kiss that tasted like forever. Behind them, through the windows of the community center, someone must have been watching, because suddenly the room erupted in cheers and applause. Maya laughed against Axel's lips. I think they know. Let them know, he grinned. I want everyone to know. They walked back inside together, hand in hand, to a chorus of congratulations and hugs and tears. Diana squealed and demanded to be maid of honor. Hammer grumbled something about damn time while wiping his eyes. Patricia Walsh clasped Maya's hands and told her she'd never seen anything more beautiful. Maya looked around at these people. This family she'd built from nothing. These strangers who had become her everything. A year ago she'd been alone, terrified, running for her life. Now she had everything she'd ever wanted. The wedding was held 3 months later. Small, intimate, just family blood and chosen gathered in the backyard of Hammer's property, surrounded by motorcycles and wildflowers. Maya wore white, not because she felt pure or innocent, but because she'd earned it. She'd walk through fire and come out the other side. She deserved to wear whatever damn color she wanted. Axel wore a suit. It was the second time she'd ever seen him in one, the first being the Community Heroes Gala, what felt like a lifetime ago. He looked uncomfortable but handsome, tugging at his collar while trying not to cry. Diana stood beside Maya as her maid of honor. Hammer stood beside Axel as his best man. Torres was there looking strange out of uniform. Doris had closed the cafe for the day to attend, and she sobbed through the entire ceremony. The officiant was a retired judge who owed Hammer a favor. He kept the service short and sweet, just the way Maya and Axel wanted it. Do you, Axel Thornton, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold in sickness and in health for as long as you both shall live? Axel's voice was steady. I do. And do you, Maya Brooks, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband, to have and to hold in sickness and in health for as long as you both shall live? Maya looked at Axel, at his scarred face and rough hands and eyes that had seen too much, at the man who had saved her life and given her a reason to keep living. I do. Then by the power vested in me by the state of Oregon, I now pronounce you husband and wife. The judge smiled. You may kiss the bride. Axel swept her into his arms and kissed her thoroughly to raucous cheers from the assembled crowd. Motorcycles revved their engines. Someone popped champagne. When they finally broke apart, Maya was laughing and crying at the same time. Hi, husband, she said. Hi, wife. Axel grinned, ready for the rest of our lives. I've been ready since the day you walked into that alley. The reception lasted until dawn. There was food and dancing and more champagne than Maya had ever seen. Stories were told, some embarrassing, some touching, all full of love. Hammer gave a speech that made everyone cry. Diana gave a speech that made everyone laugh. Torres raised a toast to justice, and Doris raised one to second chances. As the sun came up, Maya found herself alone with Axel on the edge of the property looking out at the horizon. So, she said, what now we live? Axel wrapped his arm around her. Really live, not just surviving, not just fighting, actually living. That sounds nice. It sounds terrifying. He laughed. I've spent so long in survival mode, I'm not sure I know how to do anything else. We'll figure it out together. Together. He pressed a kiss to her temple. I like the sound of that. Maya leaned into him, watching the sky turn pink and gold. She thought about everything that had led to this moment. The pain, the fear, the endless nights of wondering if she'd live to see morning, the scars visible and invisible that she'd carry for the rest of her life. But she also thought about what had come after. The healing, the growth, the love she'd found in the most unexpected places, the purpose she'd discovered in helping others. Derek had tried to destroy her. He'd failed. She was still here, still standing, still fighting, and now finally she was living. 2 years later. Jennifer's house had expanded to 12 cities across 5 states. Maya had been featured in national magazines, interviewed on talk shows, invited to speak at conferences around the world. She'd become the face of domestic violence awareness, though she never felt comfortable with the title. "You're a hero," people told her. "I'm a survivor," she always replied. "There's a difference, or boss." But the real reward wasn't the fame or the recognition. It was the letters. Thousands of them from women all over the country telling her their stories, thanking her for giving them hope, telling her she'd saved their lives. Maya read every single one. She kept them in boxes in her office at Jennifer's house, a physical reminder of why she did what she did. When the work got hard, and it did often, she would pull out a letter at random and read it. "Dear Maya," one said, "3 years ago I was ready to give up. My husband had beaten me so badly I couldn't walk. I'd lost my job, my friends, my family. I had nothing left. And then I heard your story. I heard about how you escaped, how you survived, how you built something beautiful out of the ashes of your pain. And I thought, if she can do it, maybe I can too. Today I'm writing this letter from my own apartment with my children beside me, free for the first time in 15 years. Thank you. Thank you for showing me the way." Maya cried every time she read it, but they were good tears, healing tears, tears of gratitude and hope. She and Axel never had children of their own. They talked about it in the early days of their marriage, but ultimately decided against it. They had too much to do, too many people to help, too little time to spare. Besides, Maya said they had hundreds of children already. Every woman who walked through the doors of Jennifer's house, every survivor who found the strength to leave, every life they saved, that was legacy enough. On their 5th wedding anniversary, Axel took Maya back to the cliff where he'd proposed. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. The waves crashed below, eternal and unchanging. "Do you ever regret it?" Axel asked. "Any of it?" Maya thought about the question. Really thought about it. "No," she said finally. "Not even the bad parts. Because the bad parts led me to the good parts. To you, to Jennifer's house, to everything that matters. Even Derek. Even Derek." Maya leaned against him. "He tried to break me. He failed. And in failing, he made me stronger than I ever would have been without him." She paused. "That doesn't make what he did okay. It doesn't excuse any of it. But I refuse to let him have power over me anymore. Not even in memory." Axel pulled her close. "You're the most incredible person I've ever known." "You're pretty incredible yourself." She smiled up at him. "Thank you." "For what?" "For saving me, for loving me, for being exactly what I needed, exactly when I needed it." "You saved yourself," Axel said. "I just helped. We saved each other." He kissed her, then soft and sweet and full of love. When they pulled apart, the first stars were appearing in the darkening sky. "So," Axel said, "what's next?" Maya thought about all the women still out there trapped in cycles of violence, all the survivors who hadn't found their way to help yet, all the work still to be done. "We keep fighting," she said. "We keep building. We keep hoping. And if we get tired, then we rest, and then we get back up." She took his hand. "That's what survivors do. We get back up." Axel smiled. "I like that." "Me too." They stood there together, watching the stars appear one by one. Two broken people who had found each other. Two survivors who had become warriors. Two souls who had learned that love, real love, healthy love, was possible even after everything. The road had been long. The scars were deep. The memories would never fully fade. But they had made it. Together. And that, Maya thought, was the greatest victory of all. 10 years later, Maya Brooks Thornton stood at a podium looking out at an audience of 3,000 people. The National Domestic Violence Awareness Conference had invited her to give the keynote speech. It was the largest crowd she'd ever addressed. "When I started this journey," Maya said, "I was one woman with one story. Today, Jennifer's house operates in 47 cities. We've helped over 50,000 women escape abusive situations. We've changed laws, changed minds, changed lives." She paused, letting the numbers sink in. But numbers don't tell the whole story. Behind every statistic is a human being, a woman who was afraid, a woman who was hurt, a woman who thought she had no way out. Maya's voice grew strong. And behind every success story is a network of people who refused to give up, who believed that change was possible, who stood up and said enough. She looked out at the crowd, so many faces, so many stories. I'm often asked what advice I have for survivors, what I would tell my younger self if I could go back in time. She smiled. I would tell her this: you are not broken, you are not weak, you are not alone. What happened to you was not your fault, and you have the power to survive it, to overcome it, to transform it into something beautiful. Maya straightened her voice, ringing with conviction. To every survivor watching, your story is not over. Your pain has purpose, and your voice has the power to change the world. She stepped back from the podium. The audience rose as one, applauding, cheering, crying. In the front row, Axel watched with tears streaming down his weathered face. Beside him sat Diana and Hammer and Torres and Patricia Walsh and all the others who had been there from the beginning. Maya's family, her army, her heart. She had been a victim once, broken and afraid and alone. She was a survivor now, strong and brave and surrounded by love. And her story, the story of a woman who refused to give up, who turned her pain into power, who proved that hope could triumph over darkness, would inspire generations to come. Because that's what survivors do. They rise, they fight, they win. And Maya Brooks Thornton had won the greatest battle of all, the battle for her own life, her own happiness, her own future. The nightmare was over. The dream had just begun. If you loved Maya's story, please like and subscribe. And remember, no matter what you're going through, no matter how dark things seem, there is always hope. There is always a way out. You are not alone.